Hello there once again. Today, we will be reading a drama. Aren't we all excited? At the end of today's lesson, we should all be able to read the play to bring out the meaning, role play any story you have read, memorize your part for drama presentation, show the quality of first aider, and demonstrate a simple first aid procedure. Now, are we all ready? Then let's begin. Last week, we had members of the Nigerian Red Cross Society visit our school to give us a talk on first aid. Tomorrow, we will be acting out a small play for them. In this play, we will show the quality of a first aider and demonstrate a simple first aid procedure. Now remember, the qualities of a good first aider include being a good communicator, being able to act fast, and remain calm during emergencies. Now let's have our final practice before showtime. This play has 4 character roles: the narrator, Mrs. Adetunji, Nurse Titi, and Bisi. Then let's begin. It's Saturday. Mrs. Adetunji and her daughter Bisi are playing a board game, while the other members of the Adetunji family are visiting their relatives in the neighboring city. There is a knock on the door. Hello! Good morning, ma'am. My name is Titi, and I am a nurse at the Primary Healthcare Center. This is my ID card. We have an ongoing sensitization campaign to educate people about basic first aid procedures and the importance of having a first aid box at home. Do you mind if we talk to you about it for 10 minutes? No, not at all. Please sit. Do you care for a glass of water? Yes, please. Now, Mrs. Adetunji asks Bisi to get Nurse Titi a glass of cold water. And a few minutes later, they heard Bisi scream out in pain. They rushed to the kitchen to find broken glass pieces on the floor and blood on Bisi's hand. Mrs. Adetunji, do you have a first aid box at home? No. Okay, let me get mine. Nurse Titi gets her box and talks Mrs. Adetunji through a step-by-step process on how to perform a basic first aid procedure for a minor hand injury. Step 1. Wash your hands with soap and water. Step 2. Clean the wound with warm water and soap or another mild cleanser to get any dirt away from the cut. Step 3. Carefully use tweezers cleaned with rubbing alcohol to remove pieces of glass or other debris from the wound. Step 4. Apply firm but gentle pressure to the wound with a clean cloth. Step 5. Add another layer if blood seeps through the cloth or pad. 6. Raise your finger above the heart, allowing the hand or arm to rest on something if needed. Once the bleeding has stopped, which should take a few minutes at most for a minor cut, take the covering away to let it start healing. And finally, step 7. Apply a little petroleum jelly or Vaseline to help reduce scarring and speed up healing. Leave the cut uncovered if it is not likely to get dirt, or rub against clothes or other surfaces. Cover the cut with an adhesive strip such as a band-aid if the cut is on a part of your finger that may get dirty or touch other surfaces. Thank you very much, Nurse Titi. You're welcome, Mrs. Adetunji. It is important to have basic first aid kit and know basic first aid procedures for minor home emergencies. This flyer has all the information about our first aid classes at the health center and what you will learn once you register. They said their goodbyes and Nurse Titi left the Adetunji house to educate more people. Now that was an excellent rehearsal, kids. Great job all round. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. And now it's assessment time. Here are some questions to test what we have learnt so far.